afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. It is Monday, August 10th, and you know what that means. It is time for the High Risk Wrestling Recap. I am your host, Jeremy Pierce. You know you can check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations 52 on Instagram, and of course the 215 on Twitter. And without further ado, let's get into the news. TKO has moved the Vince McMahon lawsuit that has, they're finally confirmed that has moved to arbitration, and the payout has been settled, $42.5 million in the merger settlement. That is how much Vince and his insurance company has to pay out. And according to the shareholders, these partial disclosures allowed an incomplete picture of the settlement to spread publicly. The numbers, especially because McMahon and several other WWE executives were staring down the possibility of huge financial damages if the case went to trial and went against them. Well, here they are settled. Tuco Scorpio pleads guilty in his assault case, avoids a criminal trial. He had originally been charged with first-degree assault and armed criminal action in Kansas City, Missouri. His trial was set to begin Monday, but the reduced charge and guilty plea brought that process to an immediate end. He is now scheduled to be formally sentenced on October 3rd. The Royal Rumble 2027 will be taking place in Glendale, Arizona, and there's a possibility that it could be 2 nights, each Rumble match headlining the respective shows. And, they'll give you 3 other matches that they just don't really care about. Kairi Sane, the artist formerly known as Kairi Sane, Kairi Hojo, has received countless offers since her release. She's one of the top wrestlers on the entire planet, and it makes sense that she will be garnering her attention. I expect her to probably sign with Stardom and be on a dual contract with AEW. In some sad news, Hall of Famer, wrestling legend Dory Funk Jr. has passed away at the age of 85. He is a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. His legendary career sparked all over the Texas territories, wrestling for 6+ decades. He was a pioneer, man, and the younger brother of Terry Funk did not stand under his brother's shadow. We lost a legend. Gabby Forza reveals that she has signed with TNA Wrestling, and this makes sense as, get this, ladies and gentlemen, there is talk of TNA signing more women after losing Mara Sade, after losing Jody Threat, after losing Tessa Blanchard. They are looking to add to the Knockouts division. As you know, they do have this current Knockouts TV title tournament going on for the division, and we are all down to the final 4. Tessa Blanchard, the talented star that she is, has said that cancel culture is the reason for the twisted narrative about her first TNA exodus. This was the one during the pandemic when she didn't relinquish the world championship. She was the promotion's world champion, not just the knockout champion. She was the world champion. And she said her contract was up. She was always going to drop the title, and she was set to sign an extension, but she hadn't been paid during her whole contract yet. That sounds right about TNA. Tessa's issue is she has a reputation, and she's got to essentially speak up. Is very much that simple. Nyla Rose, even though she's not been featured on television, has been working a bit backstage while also working the indie. She's been all over the world, Japan, the Midwest, up and down the East Coast. She's a fan favorite, but I like this backstage producer role with her. I hope to see her on TV again. On the injury side of things, Buddy Matthews has been cleared for action after spending 18 months away out of action. On the opposite end, his wife Rhea Ripley had surgery for her torn meniscus, which will sideline her probably for the rest of the year. Chelsea Green, our new women's champion, got injured in her match against I think it was Fallon Henley. She has an orbital break in her face, kind of like what Cody had, what Joel Embiid had. She's probably going to end up wearing the mask. And Andrade had to get some stitches. He'll be out for a little bit after he got injured in a match for MLP. He will be sidelined, not for long, because I wholeheartedly expect him to be wrestling at All in. But that is the news, so we should be right back with the weekend review. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know how we do with the weekend review. We start off with Monday Night Raw. This was the Fallout show for SummerSlam. We open up with Roman. He comes out, acknowledge him, yada yada yada. LA Knight interrupts him, not Oba Femi, not Seth Rollins, but LA Knight interrupts him, congratulates him, and calls him a fraud. Knight demanded a one-on-one match with no interference. Roman mocked Knight's megastar claim and said he hasn't earned anything. Knight fired back like, bro, I've earned everything, and every time I've gotten you dead to rights, you needed 30 other people in your family and your cousins to all come and beat me, and you've never done it one-on-one. I just want a fair shot like you gave Seth Rollins, because you are nothing but a fraud. Next, the first match was Javon Evans versus Ethan Page. Solid match. Evans leapfrogged both the ref and Ethan Page to get the win with the OG cutter. After the match, well, a returning Big Cass dropped Evans, attacks him. I thought this was kind of whack, because he's just now a generic big man monster, and the personality that he showed in his first run with Enzo and his run with the learning tree in AEW is not there. Reigns told Fatu that he isn't going back to his old ways, but losing isn't acceptable. He dismissed Keys as one of the boys and said that they only are the bloodline of other family. He ordered Fatu to handle LA Knight, and that he ordered Fatu to handle LA Knight and told everybody else not to touch him. Knight walked up and mocked him and said, yo, don't touch him. Keys confronted Fatu about the history. Fatu said Keys is in the family, challenged him to a street fight at night. Liv bragged about beating Io and called herself the greatest champion of all time. Liv praised Raquel's Aussie title win and said Perez would beat Sol Ruka. Then they had the match. Sol won by DQ after Liv interfered. Roxanne hit the pop rocks to Hannah bomb from Raquel until Becky Lynch made her return to confront Liv. She said a lot of things. She called Liv a glorified valet and mocked her title reign, because it won't be another 100 days before she defends that championship. Liv said you should be home, being a mother. Becky said, I'll handle you. As Liv was exiting, Stephanie Vaquer returned to chase her into the ring and beat her down to Roxanne, and Raquel pulled her away. Heyman watched the Brock Lesnar tribute. Oba thanked Brock through Heyman, and Heyman congratulated Oba. Is Oba the next Paul Heyman guy? He doesn't need a mouthpiece. Oba came to the ring. He said Brock passed the torch, and he said the old guardists will fall and challengers will answer to him as he's making his way to the back. The Vision comes out, and he and Braun go face to face. Braun went on to go on to defeat Joe Hendry in a quick win. After Austin Theory interfered. After the match, Theory attacked Hendry. Tozawa made the save. Big Cass said Evans wasn't personal. He was just in the way. Said he's stacking bodies, and Evans was first. We got the clip of Chad Gable's title win. Penta showed him respect. Penta and Chad Gable teamed to take on Dom and JD McDonough. Solid match. Gable and Penta won. Breaker asked Heyman where Oba was, and Heyman denied not knowing, and Breaker implied Heyman's aligned with Oba. Main event was the street fight between Royce and Jacob Fatu. They immediately brawled because, the person's history was also highlighted. Fatu dove through the ropes. Keys hit a barricade power slam. Tables, ladders, chairs, everything was used throughout. Keys hit a top rope power slam onto the chairs, but Jacob survived that. He did a pop-up Samoan drop through the table, followed by the mighty moonsault, Tongan death grip, and Jacob Fatu wins the match. Fatu continued the assault after the match, placing chairs around Keys' next. Looked like he was about to get Pillman. Now Pearson officially tried to stop him. Jacob hit a hip attack. Keys was bleeding from his mouth. Roman arrived, nodded. He did it again. And as Roman was leaving, he met with Rey Mysterio, who said, I am the GM of AAA. Let's talk. Our first match of the evening on Dynamite, ladies and gentlemen. This show was awesome. Gets a thumbs up. Grand Slam Mexico. Cope and Cage teamed up with the Young Bucks to take on the Death Rider team of Mox, Pac, Yuta, and Garcia. This was a fun match. They started fighting immediately. Cope got the hot tag. Christian got into it with Marina Shafir. Ultimately, Copeland hit the spear, but the ref was held down. They collided with Matt. Mox rolled him up for the W. Can they coexist? Miscommunication was acknowledged. They separated without any escalation. We got hype for Omega and Ospreay. Then we got Andrade, Ciampa, Commander. Winner gets the #1 spot in the Casino Gauntlet at All In. Commander was just his usual awesome self. Rope walk dives. Andrade took selfies. Ciampa pushed him. Ciampa mocked Andrade with the pants spot, beating up the pants. Pants. Ciampa, are you okay, sir? But ultimately, Commander hit a rope walk flip. Ciampa nearly stole the W, but Andrade got the DM for the W. After the match, as he vowed to win the Casino Gauntlet, MJF blindsided him with the belt and reclaimed the Dynamite Diamond ring and attacked Andrade, and he said he will be the true champion and he will enter the Casino Gauntlet. I think MJF was in the Gauntlet last year and won. I'm almost sure he was in the Gauntlet last year and won. I was kind of expecting a one-on-one match between them at All In, but Casino Gauntlet's good. We got Willow and Mercedes recap for all of them, which led to our tag team match, Divine Dominion and Mercedes Monet taking on the Brawling Birds and Willow Nightingale. I wanted this match to go a little bit long, but it was fun. These women are all just so good at their job. Hater hit a dive early with Chaos just following everyone. Dominion hit the German suplexes. The Birds fired back, but Willow hit a spine buster on Mercedes. Got the near fall, but the Birds cleared out Dominion. Willow reversed with the backslide pin to get the W. And I hear people complaining about, well, you did a roll up with the Mox match. Willow, if you've been paying attention since our return, has been winning a lot of her matches with the backslide. She's won a bunch of them. Pay attention. Kyle Fletcher, Speedball Mike Bailey, International Championship. You know how these two dudes do. Never a bad match between them. Bailey honored Mystico's mask. Crowd loved it. Fletcher disrespected the mask. Bailey hit a hit a rope walk, hit scissors. Fletcher answered with the barricade toss. Bailey rallied with the shooting star, and Fletcher hit multiple Michinoku drivers, but it was not enough to put Speedball down. Speedball hit the ultimate weapon for a near fall. Fletcher finally turned it around, got the turnbuckle brain buster for the win, retaining the championship. Okada entered and stared down Fletcher with some tension tease. I'm waiting for this triple threat match. Announced this for All In, ladies and gentlemen. Mystico, Chris Jericho, who was going by his Corazon de Leon moniker when he was in New Mexico. He used to wrestle in Mexico. And Darby Allin took on Hachicero, Kevin Knight, and Kazuchika Okada. If you haven't seen Mystico's entrance in Arena Mexico, man, it's a thing of beauty. Knight attacked Darby before the match, and everybody was just started to fight. Jericho played to the crowd. Okada dropkicked Darby when he was in the middle of a dive. Mystico hit a dive over the ring post, and Darby hit the coffin drop. Jericho caught Knight midair with the Judas effects, and Darby scored the win with another coffin drop. A solid match. I don't think this match needed to be here, as there was just no real beef with it, but it was a way to get these guys on the card, especially Hachicero, who is super over in Mexico. Persephone took on Chris Statlander. As much as I like these two ladies, this match ran into some issues with like the booking. Statlander slipped on her for 50 attempt. Persephone capitalized on that. Thunder Rosa and Persephone were fighting at ringside. The ref got taken out. Sheeta interfered, hit a belt shot on Stat. Persephone hit a frog splash to get the 3 count, and that was it. I'm assuming this is going to lead to a tag match, probably on either Dynamite or Collision next week, or building up to something for All In. We got hype for the main event. The Demand put the Trios Championship on the line against Brodito and Hangman Adam Page, and the Hills attacked before the bell. The ref immediately started the match. This was a really good match. Ultimately, we got new champions. Bandito hit the 21 plex, colliding with Hangman's buckshot lariat, and we got some new champs. It sucks that the Demand lose the belts this early, but I expect them to get it back. I'm liking that we're finally doing something with the trios titles. On the main event was the Mexican street fight, who allowed Ospreay Mark Davis. This was a bloody, brutal battle, ladies and gentlemen. The fight began in the aisles. Weapons were immediately used. Davis powerbomb Ospreay into the apron and to a fan. Good plant on you. Ospreay rolled down the stairs after a board shot. Davis used the fork. Ospreay returned the fire with the fork and the Oz cutter. Davis hit the apron. Power driver wasn't enough to put Ospreay down, who won with the Styles Clash, followed by the barbed wire hidden blade. Grand Slam Mexico does not miss. Go back every year. Grand Slam Mexico, Grand Slam Australia. I think we need 1 or 2 more just like foreign Grand Slams, like a Grand Slam Japan and maybe a Grand Slam like Europe or something. But it's a thing of beauty. I think Grand Slam should start becoming the international shows. Over on Impact, they were in Philly, and this was a good show. Not a great show, but it was a good show. Opening contest was Matt Hardy defeating Ryan Nemeth. Jeff arrived late, but ended up getting attacked by Nick Nemeth. Matt capitalized on the distraction and hit the twist of fate for the W. We were backstage with some of the knockouts. Zaya vowed Wendy Chu would take the knockouts title back to NXT. Elena predicted Wendy would win. Tensions were flaring. I have no idea why Elena Black is a good guy here. She's done nothing for that. Jason Hodge celebrated his international championship win. He said the title meant everything to him, and he represented breaking the glass ceiling. Rich Swann and BDE congratulate him. We had the next match of the Knockouts TV title tournament. Mara Sade take on Heather by elegance. Heather controlled early. Mara rallied. Heather targeted Mara's injured arm and scored the pinfall. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mara Sade's last match in TNA. I would have loved for her to re-sign, but I don't think she's staying there. Moose said he's been reliable for TNA. Challenge Cass to a first-time ever match at Lockdown. I cannot believe these two stalwarts of TNA have never had a one-on-one match. We got Hotch, who left his wife and daughter alone for a brief period until Ali sat beside them and said he was disappointed. To Hotch's daughter, he needed to take back what belonged to him and promised he'd take care of them no matter what happened to Hotch. Casey Navarro took on Brian Myers. Casey won by DQ after Eddie Edwards ran and attacked Casey. Eddie and Myers beat him down, so Fabian Eichner made the save. Santino immediately made a tag match, which Eddie and Brian Myers also won because they are a tag team. Eddie hit the package power driver to win the match. Ricky Sosa ran in with a chair to stop any further attacks from the system. The injury report was interrupted by Matthew Ruhu, who pros Nick Nemeth's perfect shape. Haffinen noted Marsha's uncertain status, and Rosemary is still missing, ladies and gentlemen. The Hardys congratulated the Righteous for surviving the lake. Matt said they're now brothers, and he touched Knuckles. Oh, okay. That's all you got to do. Hotch charged Ali. Security stopped him. Hotch challenged Ali to a match at Lockdown with the title on the line. Hotch asked Skyler to leave Order 4. Skyler said he needed the job. Skyler and Sasha still reconsidered their positions. We were in the room with the Righteous. Vincent said they died or changed. You were in a lake of reincarnation, and ideas can't drown. Dutch at the lake showed them what's next. They praised the Hardys and said they're seeking people who want to bloom, and it's something greater. Santino said Daria Ray wanted Harley Hudson's contract immediately terminated. He was like, nah. Alicia interrupted and Jada cut her off, setting up a match that Harley challenged Alicia to. Ali is searching for Rosemary. She found some cards on the floor. The hometown man took on AJ Francis, rolled that man up real quick after a distraction from Elijah. Cedric Alexander said he's one of the best in the world, and X Division Championship proves it. Leon Slater replaced Half and confronted Cedric, and Cedric said Slater earned nothing, would never get another shot. Cedric vowed to erase Slater's accomplishments. Slater sat back down as Cedric stormed off. Frankie agreed to face Moose at Lockdown, said Moose is just a mascot and learn why he's called the King. Zaya Brooks died Wendy Chu Knockouts Championship on the line. Solid match. Both of these women have spent time at NXT, with Wendy Chu still being in NXT. Zaya ended up hitting the dark side DDT to get the W as Lena Black confronted her after the match. We were then backstage with Nick Nemeth, who was just ranting, and Jeff was calmly painting. Nick said he sees through Jeff and nobody does it better than him. They both signed their contract, and Nick told Jeff to enjoy his Zen moments and left. Over on SmackDown, this show was also in Philly, and this was the SummerSlam Fallout show, and it wasn't horrible, but I am giving it a thumbs down because the show only had 3 matches, and that's completely unacceptable. So we start off with Cody, who came out, who demanded Randy Orton honor Dory Funk. Punk interrupted, and Cody asked Punk if he knew Orton would interfere, and Punk said he didn't know and suggested the team would find Orton. Cody refused. Punk said their business is finished and told Cody to say when. Owens entered and confronted Punk and ran that man down. Said he waited 17 months to wrestle again and never lost it. He accused Punk of arrogance of being unchanged. Punk fired back, saying his arrogance is why fans cheer him and why he's champion. KO said Punk showed him what not to become, and that is a miserable piece of shit. And that sparked something on Punk, and Punk they shoved each other, and officials and artists had to break them up. Fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, these two have never had a one-on-one match against each other. When KO got to Ring of Honor, Punk was already gone. When KO got to the WWE, Punk was already gone. Go figure. Charlotte says she's fighting for Alexa tonight and told Jade to come along if she's truly an alpha. Trick Williams said Corbin only won by cheating, and he promised Philly would whoop that Trick tonight. U.S. title was on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, Corbin, Trick, and Corbin used the belt behind the ref's back to get the W. This went 10 minutes. So I'm letting you know, ladies and gentlemen, 10 minutes. This match went 10 minutes on a 2-hour show. 10 minutes. Backstage, we were with Sammy, who confronted Aldis about SummerSlam and said KO's return screwed him. KO made his return affected Sammy. He apologized for it, and he said, Sammy, you would do the same thing. Sammy offered help against Punk, and KO declined, saying he'll handle Punk alone. Sammy said he won't stop chasing what he wants. Corbin rejected being called an underdog and said Trick will never test the championship again. Mello attacked Corbin and announced their U.S. title match for next week. We were in the ring with Chelsea Green, who celebrated becoming the women's champion. Tiffany joined her. They toasted friendship. Fatal Influence interrupted and mocked them, leading to a tag team match. Tiffany offered JC Jane an IC title match next week if they could wrestle tonight. Simple. Fatal Influence won the match. Who interfered? It was Chelsea and Tiffany versus Lanny and Fallon, so JC interfered. They capitalized, got the W. This is the match where Chelsea got hurt. Nia and Lash attacked Chelsea after the match, and they are staking their claims as well. Then we got Truth with the War Raiders, and it's a lot for things to go down. Titles are on the line. They're not afraid of Haku and the boys. We'll see what happens. We got a career retrospective on Brock Lesnar. Then we got Randy Orton entering. Cody immediately confronted him. Orton repeatedly. He left the ring and he said, look, you asked for the best. You wanted this. And Orton said, well, the voices were talking to me. And if the best version of Randy Orton can't get it done, I know the worst version of Randy Orton can get to number 15. He vowed to make sure Cody will never become WWE champion again. And Cody said, listen, I don't have to be the good guy anymore. Sammy ran into Candice and Punk appeared. Punk said Sammy has a big mouth when he's not around. Sammy called Punk a fraud because, well, he is a Punk, and Sammy's at the back of the line. And Candice LeRae, Johnny Gargano, a title shot before him. I'm over all of this. Michin said Charlotte is jealous and Jay promised to end disrespect. Nikki explained why turning on Paige happened. She said Paige cost him the tag titles and hurt Brie. Promised Paige remaining career would be misery. Nakamura said he's no longer alone. He's starting a war. He said Aku's arrival changes everything. And our final match of the evening, match number 3. Remember, first match went 10 minutes. Second match went 8 minutes. And this match between Charlotte and Jade, which we thought was going to happen at SummerSlam. Hard-hitting match spilling to the outside. Jade hit multiple power bombs, but Charlotte survived. Ultimately, Alexa Bliss returned with Lily. The Knights went out. Tatum Paxley appeared to take out Michin and B-Fab. Charlotte hit the sister Abigail on a top rope natural selection to get the W. And she celebrates with Tatum and Alexa. I was expecting Tatum to debut on Raw with Lyra because they have history, but apparently Charlotte requested Tatum, which which is dumb because Tatum and Lyra has history. You can't cater to everyone. But SmackDown only had 32 minutes of wrestling and a lot of fucking talking. On the opposite end, Collision, the Continental Cup began, this show gets a thumbs up because, well, it had wrestling on it. Claudio defeated Ace in the opener of the Continental Cup. Let me run down the rules for you real quick. 60 men, blind draws for each round. So the first round is 8 matches, blind draw. Then the winner of those matches go back at the blind draw. Winners of the matches go to the blind draw for the finals at all. And Claudio countered the springboard roundhouse to a pop-up, very European uppercut. Got the W. We got a recap of the street fight from Grand Slam. Then we went to the Brawling Birds taking on Vert Vixen and Viva Van. No easy task. Vert Vixen and Viva Van are very well respected in the industry. They wrestle a lot of Ring of Honor, but the Birds got the W. Divine Domain attacked them after the match. Windsor choke slammed them onto the Timekeeper's table, which did not break. And listen, the Birds are going to have a lot on their hands. The TNT title match was made, I believe, official for All in Darby Allin, Kevin Knight. Orange Cassidy took on Matt Sydal in their Continental Cup. Orange Cassidy won the match here. Matt Sydal looked good in his return. He's looking better and better. This is coming back from injury. Mox praised Claudio's form and said Jack Perry's teaming with the wrong people. Mox declared interest in the Bang Bang Gang, and Claudio said against the world. That's the Death Fighters mantra. The Rascals took one of the quick squash match. Reed called out Speedball for a singles match, which led to Speedball versus Myron Reed. Solid match, fast match. Ultimately, Speedball won with a standing Spanish fly. Connors and Finley hyped their Continental Cup possibilities and said they're off the chain. Sheeta and Persephone took on Heian at Maya World. A good solid match. Heian opened strong. Maya hit some flurries, but Persephone and Sheeta are just too good. Caught off Maya's momentum. Maya dove on her Persephone, but Heian speared Sheeta, but Sheeta hit the cutthroat tombstone for the W. Knight teased the accepting Darby's challenge for All In. We got Jack Perry, the Bang Bang Gang versus the Death Riders. The Death Riders, look, they're just a well-oiled machine winning the match. Marina distracted the ref as the dog attacked the guns, and Yuta hit a running knee to get the finish. Jack Perry blasted Yuta with the knee after the match. He pointed to Mox, signaling that, you know what, I'm coming for that championship. Speedball challenged MJF for a gauntlet qualifier. Nick Wayne mocked Bailey and inserted himself into the match. So on Dynamite, we'll have Speedball, Nick Wayne, and MJF. Winner gets the number 2 spot in the casino gauntlet. We got a Dory Funk tribute from AEW and Tony Schiavone. Shane Taylor Promotions made an offer to join forces with the Hurt Syndicate. MVP said, well, think about taking you up on your offer. Perry said he's ignoring his parents' advice about gangs. Announced that his first ever singles match versus Mox on Wednesday. Drew sworn Finley about Jay White with no interference. That's also Continental rules, obviously. And final match of the Continental Cup for Collision was Jake Doyle, Eddie Kingston. Everybody loves Eddie Kingston, man. Doyle overpowered Kingston early, but who got him back with the machine gun chops? Doyle hit multiple areas and power slam, but Eddie once again rallied with the exploder, backflip, stretch plump submission, got the W. Eddie moves on. I don't know who's going to be in the finals besides Mox. Mox is going to be in the finals, that's for sure. Whether he's facing Jay White or Eddie Kingston, we shall see. Our matches of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Matches of the week, not much, and even though AEW put on some really good shows, the quality of matches for AEW are so good that it's hard to reach that next barrier. But for New Japan, we got 2 matches from the G1 Climax. Shingo Takagi versus Konosuke Takeshita, and Oleg Boltin versus Yota Tsuji from AEW. Even though, again, good matches, but not over that threshold. We got 2, both from Grand Slam Mexico. Kyle Fletcher, Speedball Mike Bailey for the International Championship, and of course, the street fight between Ospreay and Mark Davis. A star of the week, I was struggling to really find one. It's Kendal Gray, because she's awesome and she did what no other woman has been able to do, and that's defeats Lola Vice in an NXT Underground match. But that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Look at the screen what we got coming up. You can check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course 215 on Twitter. I see you when I see you. Peace.